Hi there, and welcome to That Bearded Gunman's channel. Today we're going to be showcasing a weapon that is from kind of the older collection that I've had. This was given to me by my grandfather. Spiders. But this gun was given to me by my grandfather, and he's had it for an unknown amount of years. But this stays beside one of the back doors, and it's used for squirrels, rabbits, coyotes, whatever you see out the backyard. I mean, we have chickens, stuff happens. But it's older, it's nasty, has some surface rust, and it's huge. And it's also a stock loader, which means you take a tube out of the rear end, you twist it counterclockwise, and pull this tube out the rear end, and allows you to put shells through into this little teardrop shape right here. That being said, there's also no crossbar safety. Like most firearms, there's no thumb safety. There's no safeties that you can see on the weapon itself. So, the safety is actually, I don't know if you can see it because of the sunlight, but you pull this back to this first notch right here and push it in, and that causes it to bolt, hang open, and turn itself into safety. Right now it is loaded because, like I said, it stays outside the back door. It looks like I got to grab it in the middle of the night and pop a raccoon. However, there's two more points in the back. The first point right here is for the bolt hold open, full open. That way you can still access your shells, clear jams, etc. And the last jam right here is to take it all the way out during cleaning. Now, if I remember right exactly, I haven't counted in quite a bit, but if I remember right, it holds, I want to say 15 shells, or 15 or 17 shells. It's 22 LR. But I will say this is probably one of the most comfortable guns I own because of the hand grip itself. It is a very comfortable, smooth shooting gun that I've killed many of small game with. And it is deadly accurate, even at, I'd say, out to 100 yards. I mean, it's stretching, but at 100 yards, I would say it's fairly accurate. However, we're going to fire this the gun today. I'm going to go to here, pull back a little bit, and fire on target. I had to watch out for my dog. He's out here today, but let's see if we can get it done. Hey, you sit. 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 Good boy. So, here we are. Like I said, it already has one round in the chamber. All the way forward. No safety. This gun may or may not jam. Like I said, it's an older gun. It has a soul. It does what it wants to. However, let's see if we get the targets on range. Look at there. First fire was a jam. And I'll bring it in close so you can kind of see what happened here. Hopefully you can see it. But it was a stovepipe malfunction, which is common in this thing. I probably had a low power load added in with my high velocities. So we're going to turn it upside down, clear that out there. Already has a shell loaded back into the chamber. Let's try it again. Look at there, it didn't cycle. So, what had happened is the bolt went far enough back to put another shell into the chamber, but didn't go back far enough to reset the hammer. So what we'll do now is, weird, but pull this back. So we grab the current live shell and kind of fiddle with it because, like I said, it's an old gun, kind of doesn't want to. So now, the fun part is the jam has went further than I'd like to. And it tried loading two at once. So what's going on is this feeding tube has a massive spring that goes from the stock of the gun to the butt of the gun all the way up into, I want to say it's at an angle, and it goes into right about here. You can see, because like I said, bad lighting, but goes in right about here, and it's a really hard spring. It's a fully loaded tube. So what I have to do is flip it upside down, push in, twist. See, there it is, counterclockwise. Pull this tube out a little bit. You can see it kind of auto guides itself all the way out. It's a big brass tube. However, that frees it up. Well, I'm going to put it back in there. You see it's still springy. But put it back in here. Flip it back upside down. Kind of hold this tube with your leg. It's kind of a funky movement. Pull back on this bolt a little bit. See if you can get that jam out of there. So this is where this secondary holdup comes in. Very handy. So, had that little bolt hole open right there. So now I'm going to try to get my finger off in here and see if I can clear a jam, which this gun is known to jamming. Like I said, it's an old gun. It kind of does what it wants to when it wants to do it. All right, so I got the jam out. And you can kind of see how this gun operates with... So, you can kind of see how this gun operates. It has like a weird feeding mechanism in there. You can kind of see the shell right there. However, you can also see how it loads now. Now that I have the stock already out and the barrel already out. So, take a 22 LR shell, put it in the teardrop where the lead is facing the front of the gun, drop it in, and then now you take this long tube, crunch it in there. It's kind of a pain, but crunch it in there real good. Get it back in the lined holes, twist it. Now you're good to go. So now, I have to get that shell out of there again, because, like I said, old gun problems. So now, release the bolt, pull back to the rear, and let go of it. Now, I'm going to pull it back, put it in the safety, because I want to load this last round into it to get every shot out of it. Sorry if I keep looking around off the camera. My dog's outside, and he chases everything under the sun. So, pull this tube back out of here again, and put yet another shell into it. Goes all the way back down, twist. Let's try again. Still nothing. Something stupid. Had it unsafe. Another malfunction. One of the many that I've had. This is yet another stovepipe, meaning hold the bolt back with your thumb. This is kind of a hard jam, and pull the ejected shell that was meant to be fully ejected out of there. So, hopefully, there it goes. I was able to safely and properly rearm it without having to pull the tube out and do a full recycle again. So, let's continue. Like I said, this is an old gun. It has old gun problems. Another jam. Bad load. Also, 22 LR. Not known for its reliability. Alright, we had yet another jam. Nope. That was the end of the magazine tube. So this gun, there is no bolt hold open because this is a Mossberg 151K. I don't know the year of manufacturing. I do not know when these guns were produced and discontinued. That being said, I do know that it's an older gun, that it's great for, like I said, squirrel shooting, small game, protecting chickens. Would I put my life on the line for this gun? No way. But would I trust it to keep it out at the back door just to kill chicken stuff? You know, chickens, even then, if you want to harvest your meat. But raccoons, coyotes, minks, foxes, whatever you may have, yes. Mossberg 151K is excellent for this. And you can pick them up. I think I seen one at the LGS, the local gun seller. I think for less than $200. You can pick these things up for fairly cheap. They hold, like I said, about 15 rounds. And they are damn good guns for the money. But, anyways, sorry, I'm kind of reading on here on the barrel itself. Never actually looked at it. But, I think today, this is the last video I'll post for the day. I may or may not decide against that, but today this has been firing the Mossberg 151K. I know this is kind of a longer video. It's a 10-minute long video. I'm going to do some cutting and editing, but, you know, it is what it is. And, let's see if you can see this. So there's my little boy. He's over there. He loves watching me shoot. And I know the bulletproof vest kind of fell out whenever I was shooting this. It has hundreds of rounds through it now. But I may or may not post later again today, after editing and cutting, all that. But this has been a good episode of That Bearded Gunman's channel, and I will see you crazy people next go around.